Have you ever had that strange feeling that you were doing everything right, working hard, paying bills, trying to save money, but something inside you tells you there is a missing piece, as if there is a detail, a piece of information, almost a hidden trick that separates those who truly prosper from those who spend their entire lives chasing their own tails. And, even worse, as if everyone knew this truth except you. I want you to take a deep breath for a few seconds, because what I'm about to tell you can change the way you see money for the rest of your life. And that is no exaggeration. It is almost a password they give you, and from then on, everything starts to make sense. But nobody teaches this password in school, nobody talks about it at work, and, to be honest, many people prefer that you never discover it. Because when you understand this truth, you are no longer content with little. You get out of autopilot, you get out of the race, you start to truly grow. Perhaps you've already noticed signs, even without knowing how to name them. You look at people who seemingly have nothing extraordinary, but who manage to travel, invest, buy what they want, and plan their lives without fear, while others, with the same income, sometimes even higher, live worried, dreading in bills, always behind schedule. Why does this happen? Why do two people with such similar conditions end up in completely opposite destinies? I used to wonder about that too, until one day, almost by chance, I heard a simple phrase that flipped a switch in my head. The way you think about money is worth more than the amount of money you have. Does this sound too philosophical? Trust me and stick around. Because if you really absorb this today, you will remember this video years from now as the moment your financial life started to change. Let me tell you something that nobody reveals. Most people live reacting to money, reacting to the bill that arrived, reacting to the price increase, reacting to the salary that decreased, reacting to the credit card that was maxed out, always reacting. And when you live reacting, you never grow. Because you were always putting out the fire of the month, never building the future. The truth that nobody tells, and perhaps this is the first time someone is telling you this clearly, is that those who prosper don't react to money. Those who prosper create money. I'm not talking about magic formulas. I'm not talking about shortcuts. I'm talking about an active, strategic, conscious mindset. Those who prospered see what the money will do. Those who fail let money control everything. And maybe you will say, but I can't even save. How am I going to control it? That's exactly the point that almost nobody understands. Control doesn't start with money. Control starts with clarity. The problem isn't the amount you earn. The problem is that you weren't taught to see money in an adult way. They taught you to work. They taught you to pay bills. They taught you to survive. But they never taught you to grow. And there is a huge difference between surviving and growing. Surviving is paying the basics and hoping the month ends soon. Growing is building something that gives you freedom, and that freedom only appears when you understand the truths I told you at the beginning. There is something about money that nobody tells you and that changes everything. Want to see how this truth works in practice? Let us imagine two people with the same salary, 3,000 reais. One will use that amount to pay bills, buy some things on impulse, live in ill deal with it later mode. The other will take part of that same salary, even if it is a small amount, and invest it to generate returns, accumulate assets, build a foundation. At first, they both seem the same. Same earnings, same bills, same lifestyle. But after a few months, one is in the same place. The other is starting to grow. After a few years, one is in debt, tired, exhausted. The other is free. Free to choose where to work, free to refuse bad situations, free to build the life they want. And all this started with the simple decision to stop living reactively. This truth is so powerful that, when you understand it, your relationship with money changes instantly. You stop feeling guilty for not being able to save. You stop thinking you were unlucky. You stop comparing yourself to other people. Because, for the first time, you understand, it is not about how much you earn, it is about how you think, decide, and direct your money. It is about how intentionally you act. It is about how much you break free from autopilot. And perhaps this is the most important point of the entire video. Money is a consequence, never a starting point. When you learn to think correctly, money starts to gradually fall into place. It is like cleaning a messy desk and, suddenly, everything that seemed impossible starts to make sense. But let me tell you something even deeper. One of the biggest obstacles preventing people from growing is fear. Fear of not succeeding, fear of not knowing, fear of failing, fear of starting small. And this fear is fueled by something silent: shame. The shame of admitting you don't know how to handle money. The shame of feeling lost. The shame of not having saved anything. The shame of not being the person you'd like to be. And this feeling, however unfair it may seem, is exactly what keeps millions of people trapped in the cycle of emotional and financial poverty. I know this because I've been there. I've felt it. I've lived it. And when I finally understood the truth I am sharing with you now, it was like a ton of weight being lifted off my shoulders. And what is this truth, stated simply and directly? Prosperity doesn't begin when you earn more money. Prosperity begins when you decide not to be a slave to it anymore. From the moment you take control, however small the amount, money ceases to be a problem and becomes a tool. Even if you don't have much yet. Even if you are in debt. Even if you are just starting out. Because change always begins from the inside out, never the other way around. Now, you might be wondering, okay, but what do I do with this truth? How do I put this into practice? And I am going to tell you something that might sound too simple, but that is exactly what makes it work. You start by deciding to never live on autopilot again. You ask your own money questions. You look at it with adult eyes. You ask, why am I spending this? Why am I buying this? What does this build? Does this bring closer to the life I want or further away from it? What is the intention behind this decision? When you ask these questions, your brain moves away from reaction and into creation. And that is where the game changes. That is where wealth building begins. That is where riches are born. Not ostentatious wealth, wealth of freedom. I want you to imagine your life 5 years from now. Imagine you take this idea seriously. Imagine you taking control, learning to invest slowly, understanding your own financial behavior, making conscious decisions. Imagine you awakening to your own potential. Now imagine you ignoring all of that and continuing in the same cycle. Look at the two timelines. They are completely different, and the difference between them begins today, right now, at this very moment, with the decision to understand and apply this truth. Maybe you are feeling a little nervous right now. That is normal. It means something inside you has understood. Something inside you has awakened. Something inside you has realized that you deserve more than constantly putting out financial fires. You deserve freedom. You deserve peace of mind. You deserve to build something of your own. Starts with the simple truth that no one will you. But that is finally reach you, that as long as you treat money as something that controls you, you will be the ego of the month. When you treat money as something you direct, you become the master of your own life. And if you've made it this far, I want to ask you something. Tell me in the comments what has held you back the most in your financial life so far. I read them all, and I want to help you in future videos in an increasingly direct way. If this video sheds some light on your thinking, please like it so YouTube can show this content to more people who need to hear it. And if you want to continue learning, growing, and truly achieving your financial freedom, subscribe to the channel now and activate the notification bell, because the next video will delve even deeper into this path you started today. You've already taken the first step. Now, the journey is yours. Let us go together.